But intuition, because listening to Demetra, I just wanted to think with following your intuition and how intuition manifests for me, how it manifested for me in my own experience was quite funny. When after I had, and then I'll talk about tuning into intuition, but after I had my kidney failure and I had my spiritual experience in the hospital bed, and in the experience I heard the voice say, find a spiritual solution. So after that I was just trying every kind of spiritual solution you can imagine. And I used to go to the Mind, Body and Spirit Festival that goes on here. And I went there and I picked up the magazine, and because after that first spiritual experience, I hadn't had any spiritual experiences before that, to my knowledge. But then after that, I picked up the magazine for the Mind, Body and Spirit Festival. I was flicking through, and one of the pages was like illuminated. Mm. It just illuminated for some reason. Mm. And I remember looking at this, you know, it's obviously, I suspected it was trying to say something. There was something in that illuminated page. But then I sort of, my voice came in and said, you know, usually the voice, I mean, it's been hilarious, my voice. It said all kinds of things. It said, you know, you can't go because you haven't got enough money, so, you know, don't go this year. So I didn't go. I didn't go that year. And then next year I got the Mind, Body and Spirit Festival again, and that same ad was in there. And I went to that page, and then it just illuminated again. You know, and it was like that, you know, I couldn't ignore it the second time the illumination occurred. And it was Energetic Matrix Church of Consciousness. And I think the guy's name was on there, Hans. And so I had to go, and I had to go to this place. And I felt, you know, strongly now, you can't like ignore it twice, you know, after the second year. And I joined that organization, and I met this guy, this big East German guy named Hans. He had a lovely spiritual energy about him. And he had been around all kinds of spiritual groups, and he's been a spiritual seeker for many, many, many years. And he was helping me. It was kind of like a network marketing for a spiritual kind of healing, you know, to let people know about spiritual healing. So it was a marketing of it. He was my mentor, and he gave me the DVD for Hawkins, you know, and then I had the next spiritual experience. So it was like that. And then he told me, that same man said to me, you should go and see Muji. And then that's how I found, so he was very instrumental in my own spiritual path. And looking back on, you know, tuning into intuition, ignoring intuition, it's like, you know, it was like, it was like, you know, so unusual, like a whole page illuminates. I go, and my ego goes, no, you know, no, don't go there. So I ignored it, and then so I could have been 1 year earlier into all of this stuff just by doing that. Luckily, God sort of didn't give up on me, and I had it the next year. And I've had other intuitions. Intuition as well, because I didn't want to work in the stock market anymore. One of the jobs I got early on was knocking door to door for a charity to get sponsorship for children in, you know, Africa or whatever. And during that time, you know, it was sales targets. And actually, I've actually wrote it in my book, actually. Apart from, but I had so many mystical experiences. I was doing the Course in Miracles, but also one of the things that happened was I'd look down streets, you know, we could go around knocking on doors, and certain streets would light up. It would be funny, like this street would light up. I'd look, that street would dark, that street would dark, and it would light up. And I knew that, and I knew intuitively that there'd be somebody there on that street that would want to sign up and sponsor a child. And every time, and it worked all the time. It was like that miraculous. And all the other streets were like dim, but there was one of them was lighted, and I knew. And I had really good, I have one of the best sort of sales targets for meeting that. But I just followed that intuition. So it's not always there. It tunes in and out. But okay, so intuition, as you clear your ego by doing the Course in Miracles and other spiritual work, what happens is that ego voice and feeling out all of the suppressed feelings is that everybody gets their intuitive capacity in a different way. You know, like, and it can happen for me in different styles, but you have to learn. For me, it's kind of obvious, not obvious, but if you get, it could be like like something could be lighted up, it could be like a gut feeling, or it could be auditory, or it could be sometimes feeling strength in the body, or strength. So there's different, through all the senses, or even the sixth sense, like a sixth sense intuition. When you, as you do start to do spiritual work, it'll be like that intuition will communicate with you in its own style. And you need to be, as you start doing spiritual work, whenever you get, you need, and you follow that intuition. It might be a light, it might be a sound, it might be whatever it is, or a gut feeling. Go with it, and if it works out right, just do it. If it works out right, the next time it comes, follow it again, and then you'll learn to have trust in that, in whatever it is. So I just wanted to say that on intuition, because that's part, for me, that's part of the way of tuning in to do what's appropriate.